Today we're going to talk about refinancing limits for a VA loan. Now that could be somewhat confusing. What sort of limits? We're not talking about loan limits. We're talking about time limits and maybe a few other restrictions that people ask us about as far as refinancing goes. So let me do my best to organize this here. Last year in like May, very end of May, early June, the VA loan program specific to refinancing, okay, that's the word we're looking at today. A lot of changes came to the VA refi, specifically the streamline refinance. And now this year, as of February 15th, there's even been some changes to the cash out or debt consolidation refinance for veterans. Here's probably the absolute biggest limit or restriction. It's 6 payments, okay? 6 payments and 210 days. Okay, this is important. Let's talk about this. It's basically seasoning, and I'm not talking about, for those that love barbecuing, we've mentioned here at Low Weigh Rates before, we love our smokers, our Traegers, we love doing that sort of stuff. I'm not talking about the seasoning you put on your meat. I'm talking about your loan must season. It must sit for a time, and the VA and some other lawmakers have suggested, and made it law actually, that in order to refinance a VA loan, you must have made 6 payments on the mortgage that you're paying. And just to keep somebody from going in and making 6 payments all in 1 month so they can hurry up and refinance, in addition to 6 payments, you must also wait until 210 days from the date the loan you're refinancing was dated. So for example, if I happen to close a VA loan or a conventional loan or any type of loan as a veteran, if I closed on a loan on January 1st, okay, of 2019, let's say, I have to make normally when you close a loan, you don't make your payment in the month you close. So let's say my first payment came due February. I'd make February, March, April, May, June, July. I would have to wait until July of 2019 before I could refinance. But I have to do another test too. I'm not going to do it right now because I'm not that quick on my feet. But there's places on the computer you can go to, and that's a calculator that adds days to a date. I'd go and I'd start with January 1st, the day I closed on my mortgage. I'd add 210 days to January 1st, and it would give me, let's just say, July 18th. It would give me some future date. You cannot, as a veteran, refinance a mortgage until you've made 6 payments and you've allowed 210 days from the day that you actually, I got to focus in on one thing, and there's some laws that are going to change here soon, we hope. The law actually states right now it's 210 days from the day in which you made your first payment. So even though my payment might not have been owed until February 1, if I didn't make it until February 10th, it's 210 days from February 10th. But ultimately, we want you guys to understand conceptually, veterans can no longer refinance using a VA loan until they have made 6 payments and waited 210 days. Now, let's go a little bit deeper. Let's say you closed on a loan as a veteran on January 1st, and you want to refinance in March, but you're not going to refinance into or with a VA loan. Then there's no rules, okay? You can refinance under an FHA, conventional, USDA. You can pay off that VA loan with non-VA financing and not have to wait the 210 days or 6 payments. Now, what happens if you have a conventional loan right now? Out in the great state of California, we've seen a lot of veterans who have bought homes with a conventional loan. So they've put money down or they've paid in cash because it was a very hot market for the last couple of years. And sellers didn't want to deal with VA loans for some strange reason. So we've had veterans come to us and say, look, I just bought a home with a conventional loan. I put 20% down. Out in California, that could be $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, let's say. They want to get their money back and do 100% financing with a VA loan. Well, unintended consequences of these laws that came out, those veterans, even though they do not have a VA loan now, believe it or not, if they want to refinance into a VA loan, current regulation and understanding of these laws require them to make a full 6 payments. What if they don't have a mortgage? What if they bought their home in cash? Then we get into a much bigger ball of wax, if you will, where they've got to go out and put a mortgage on their home. Could be a $100 mortgage if they want. Make 6 payments on it. It becomes somewhat difficult. That's not a shot at the VA loan program. As you know, we love the VA loan program here, but it is somewhat of a shot at this new law that passed. We were opposed to many parts of the law. We loved and supported the purpose of the law, and that was to protect veterans from unscrupulous lenders and sometimes their own ignorance. However, as with all laws, there are some unintended consequences, and there are veterans right now that can benefit from a refinance who must wait because of this loan seasoning. So I don't have a whole lot more to say about this. I'm going to give you about 10 or 15 seconds to offer up some questions if you have them. If you don't, that's okay. But just remember, it is a great time to refinance. We expected interest rates to continue increasing just like they did in 2018. The Federal Reserve increased rates 4 times in 2018. They have not raised rates yet here in 2000. I think I might have said that wrong. They raised rates 4 times in 2018. We expected them to raise at least 2 or 3 times in 2019. They have not raised them yet. And because of some economic stuff that's happening, it could be a little while before we see interest rates continue to creep upward. Here at Low V Rates, in the opinion of Eric, interest rates will continue to rise into the future, but right now is an amazing time to refinance. Rates are low. So if you've made 6 payments and your loan is seasoned 210 days, give us a call and let's get you a lower interest rate. Any questions? Okay, have a great afternoon.